It's an interesting idea to think that we might rise or fall to the level, not of our technical ability, but our communication skills as it relates to how the world perceives us.
And it's both. The importance there is both. Whereas I feel like we get stuck into this world where we think, oh, it's one or the other. And my students always ask me this, which one should I focus on? And I said, well, the reality is both. It's not as simple, it's both. Because if I have great showmanship and then when it comes to doing sleight of hand, I suck, that's not gonna work either. The people that I've been able to help the most in my career so far are the people who are technically so amazing at what they do. And they've been hidden away in the back office as a technician. And then bloody Brad always gets the promotion, right? Brad always gets it. Damn it, Brad got it again. Brad's not smart as me. Brad is not as good as me, right? And it's because Brad talks better. He's more visible in the work environment.
You really think it often comes down to just how we speak and communicate?
Our value, yes. Because if you can't communicate your value in a way that is clear and concise, people, it's not their responsibility to see the brilliance that exists within you. It's, I believe, your responsibility to learn how to shine your light brightly. It's super sad because I lived a massive part of my life like that. English is my third language. The first language I learned is a Chinese dialect. Not that impressive, my wife speaks 5, but thank you. The first language I learned was a Chinese dialect called Dijiu. Right, it's a bit of Dijiu for you. Aussi Dijiu Nang. Second language I then had to learn fluently is Vietnamese. Vinh là người Việt Nam, tôi là Vinh San ở nước Úc. So I had to learn all these different languages growing up. These were my first 2 core languages that if I wasn't proficient in it, grandma would be pissed off, mum would be pissed off. So we had to study it. And then I went to school and had to learn English. So I went to school, I was completely invisible. I couldn't communicate with any other kid. They couldn't communicate with me. So what do kids do? Oh, it's too hard. Oh, we just ignore you then.
They bully you.
Oh, yes. I didn't even know it was bullying because I couldn't understand them. Right? I could kind of read what they seemed mean, but I had no idea what they were saying. So I spent so much of my childhood, especially in those single-digit years around 5, 6, and 7. This is super sad, but I just spent a lot of time in the toilet because I didn't want to deal with the shame of being seen by myself. So I just hid. I just found a corner somewhere and no one... And then gradually I started to learn English. But even when I learned English, I sounded funny because I had an accent. So then they called me fob. F-O-B, fresh off the boat. Yeah. And they just kept calling me, oh, there's the fob, there's the fob. Oh, he's so fobby. So then even though I learned the English language now, I'm scared to speak it because I don't want to sound like a fob. And there were all these challenges. And so I know what it's like to feel invisible. I know what it's like to be ignored. And
that was a long time ago. And I guess the question that it leaves me with is how easy is it for someone to learn? Like, what is the time span that it would take from the experience you've had with teaching people to make a radical change in your communication skills?
It depends on your level of desire and motivation.
If you really want it,
I'd say 3 to 6 months.
You think you can change your communication skills in a radical way in 3 to 6 months?
I've seen it. I've seen students do it. It's when instead of just thinking about I'm trying to learn a new habit, it's what James Clear says. You adopt a new identity, where they adopt that new identity. Because one of the things I do is I share that story about my schooling experience at the beginning of my in-person classes. And I say, I want you all to imagine now you're at a new school. No one here in this room with us right now has any preconceived idea of who you are. Break the mold. Break it. And then you see grown adults do things they wouldn't normally do. Break out of the mold. Play with their voice. Be a little silly. Reconnect with their inner child. And then in that moment, they fall so deeply in love with that version of them because of the reactions they've been able to get from all those strangers around them that they commit to it. It's when you experience that change in the moment, it usually leads to a fairly profound desire after that. Oh, I want to become this now. But then they make a big mistake. And the biggest mistake they make is they'll go home to their partner and who has no context of the experience they've been through. And they've just went, oh, I've been quiet with my voice my entire life. And they'll go home, they're like, new me, new year, new me, honey. And then their partner goes, oh, why are you doing that with your voice? Oh, you learned that from Vin? That's gross. Why are you doing that? It's so fake. It's so inauthentic. And then they revert back to who they have always been their entire life.
What areas of one's life have you seen in those examples change when someone learnt communication skills? Because we often, the examples we've given so far are just like work.
Yeah. With their children. This has been the coolest part because I'm a dad. I teach a concept called vocal foundations, which we can dive into later. And there's these beautiful 5 core vocal foundations that people can learn. And I love it when parents go through it because I always see these comments where they said, oh my goodness, just read to the kids. They've never reacted to me in that way before. The one night I go home and I read to my kids and I do it in a boring way, they'll go, Dad, don't read it like that. Do it the fun way. And what they're asking for is they're asking for that vocal variety. They're asking for that inner child, for that playfulness. And I think that's one of my greatest superpowers is the ability to be playful and the willingness to be playful.
So you're going to help me in work. You're going to help me be a more entertaining, engaging parent. Are there any other areas of one's life that improve when they crack communication?
Yes, there is an area. And the area is improv. Learn improvisation. People all want to get better at communication. Often it's because they want to get better at conversations. What is a game of conversation? What are we doing right now? What are we doing? This is a game of improv. I don't know what you're going to say. Yeah. You don't know what I'm going to say. And then based on what I say, you improvise and you say something. So even though I know you've never done improv before, you are amazing at improv because that's a skill you had to have developed to become the incredible podcaster that you are right now. Right? So that to me is such an important skill when you're playing with your kids too. It helps you with all areas of life. It's the tide that lifts all boats. Because kids love to play. They'll say something like, oh, and then the cow now is an astronaut. And most parents will be like, that's cool, honey, that's cool. No, play. Now it's also fighting zombies that exist on the moon and you didn't know about it. And you play with them. And when you're playing, what are you using? You're using your ability to communicate.
And how many people have you taught in person and or online?
Oh, over 70,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have millions and millions and millions of followers online as well that tune in to learn communication skills from you from all around the world. And if I was to zoom in on the DMs that you get, the things that people are struggling with when they message you, the reason why they watch your videos, what is it?
The most common message that we get when people type a comment and leave it on our videos is it possible for me to change the sound of my voice?
Really?
Well, because you think about it, right? Nobody likes the sound of their own voice. The first time you heard yourself on a podcast, were you like, oh, no? Or did you say, I love it, look how sexy I sound?
When I was younger and I was little cassette recorders and I heard my voice, I thought, fucking hell, who's that?
Yeah, me too, right? So that is one of the biggest insecurities for most people when they first become problem aware with their communication skills is, is it possible for me to change the sound of my voice? Is it possible? Is it possible? And when you reflect upon this, even when you reflect upon this, most people in their entire life will never change the way they sound. They will never change the way they communicate. They'll change the way they dress, they'll change their hair, they'll change their glasses, they'll change all these things about themselves. But the way they communicate and the way they sound stays consistent generally. It's because there are a lot of psychological blocks that keep us sounding the same. We keep ourselves sounding the same. I'll share with you a few of these, okay? With my vocal teacher, at the beginning of my journey, when she got me to do things with my voice where she said, all right, let's do a really high voice. Have a bit of a play, Vin. And, go into falsetto. And she would make me do things like this. I'd go red because I'd go, that feels so weird. Oh, now I'm becoming so deep with my voice. This feels so fake and it feels phony. I immediately came up with those objections, as I'm sure you would feel that too if I got you to do that, right? And when I do it with my students, that's the immediate thing that comes up. They go, it's fake, it's phony. That's not me. And then now, just like my vocal teacher, she would always challenge me. She goes, well, if you could make the sound and you played the key on your piano, you describe to me then, how is it fake? How is it fake? If you were able to make that sound, that is you, that is your instrument, that is just you playing with keys you're unfamiliar with. That's it. You've gone through this entire life being so familiar with this key that anytime you pressed any other key, you go, it's not me. No. You're just familiar with this key and you're unfamiliar with the others. That alone helped me understand that, wow, it's not fake. Because for the longest time, I thought it was fake. And because I thought it was fake, I never changed the way I talk.
And why is it that we don't want to play with those other keys? Is it because we've got so used to playing with a particular set of keys and
you're so familiar with it?
Playing the other keys comes at a cost, a perceived cost.
Well, it goes deeper than that. It goes even deeper than that because where did you get your voice from? Who did you learn it from? There's an idea that people have in their minds about this thing called a natural voice, okay? This is another objection my students give me. They go, that's not my natural voice. And speech pathologists will tell you this. The voice you have right now is not your natural voice. You lost access to your natural voice when you were 2 or 3. Question, if I asked you to scream at the top of your lungs right now for about 10 minutes, what would happen to your voice?
Oh, I'd lose it.
Yeah. My daughter, 12 months old, can scream for 3 hours, Stephen, and she does not lose her voice because they have this beautiful access to their instrument. They can naturally access that instrument. Whereas as we grow older, at the age of 3 or 4, we start to be inspired by certain people in our circles. As a result of being inspired by people, what do kids do? They emulate, they copy. So the voice that you've developed, you've copied that based on the people you were inspired by when you were young. It's just a series of habits. The way you speak, the way you sound is just a series of behaviors. It's how you manipulate your vocal cords, how you move air through your body, how you shape your lips, where you place your teeth, how you maneuver your tongue, how you maneuver your soft palate. Depending on how you do all of that, you create a certain sound.
But if I change now, as you said, people are going to think I'm weird.
Well, that's right. But that's the thing. You have to have a process to go about that change.
Okay.
Because if you immediately just do it tonight with your partner with no context, they'll go,
freak
ew.
out.
She'll be like, what the hell? Why did you talk to Vin?
You've had Vin on the podcast,
Yeah,
haven't you?
why? Ew, now you're fake.
Yeah.
Right? We'll get to that in a moment. But what I'm saying is that the reason why you don't move from that is because you genuinely feel stuck. I'll give you the reason behind it. When you're first imitating Dad, I had one of my students, his name's Tanzia. Beautiful, beautiful guy. He had a very soft way of speaking. Beautiful, soft way of speaking. And what he didn't realize is that in the beginning of his life, he saw Dad do it, really inspired by Dad. So he copied Dad. So he had to consciously think about all these little behaviors, all these nuances to copy Dad's sound. And then after you repeat those behaviors for 1 year, 2 years, you no longer have to consciously think about it because you've mastered it. So now those behaviors move from your conscious mind and moves into your subconscious mind. And then when behaviors move into your subconscious mind, now it feels automatic. So now you feel like it's you. So now you don't doubt it. You go, no, that's me. It's like, no, it's still just a series of behaviors.
Yeah.
And I often tell my students, I say all the time, I say, don't be so attached to who you are in the present, you don't give the future version of you a chance. And the moment these things happen, it's incredible seeing these changes because all my students will do is they'll change 3 things. More volume, more melody, bigger hand gestures. People completely change the way they perceive them.